Official weigh-in for UFC Fight Night, Mir versus Duffy. What is up, San Diego? Thank you all so much for coming out. This is the official weigh-in. How about a hand for our Octagon girls, Chrissy Blair and Vanessa Hansen. The best matchmaker on the planet is that man, Joe Silva. My man, Matt Emmons, bringing up the rear. All right, we begin with the UFC FightPass.com prelims. First up, in the UFC welterweight division, Andrew Highlight Craig versus Lyman Cyborg Good. First fighter to the scale, making his UFC debut. Please welcome Lyman Good. 170 for Lyman Good. And his opponent is making his welterweight debut, Andrew Craig. $70.5 for Andrew Craig. Next up in the middleweight division, King Kevin Casey versus Ildemar Marajo Alcantara. $5.5 for Marajo. And his opponent, please welcome King Kevin Casey. $5.5 for Kevin Casey. And that brings us to the Fox Sports 1 UFC Fight Night prelims. First up in the welterweight division, Igor Araujo versus Sean Tarzan Strickland. $171 for Sean Strickland. And his opponent, Igor Araujo. $171 for Igor Araujo. Next up in the bantamweight division, Ronnie Yaya versus Masanori Kanehara. For Masanori Kanehara. And his opponent, please welcome Ronnie Yaya. $135.5 for Ronnie Yaya. All right, our next bout is in the bantamweight division. Jessica Batistaca Andrade versus Sarah Cheesecake Morris. Sarah Morris. And her opponent, currently ranked number 13 in the world, Jessica Andrade. For Jessica Andrade. All right, now we get to our featured prelim in the featherweight division. Cecilia versus Yatsin Meza. Yatsin Meza. And his opponent, please welcome Sam Cecilia. For Sam Cecilia. That brings us to the main card for Fox Sports 1, UFC Fight Night Mir versus Duffy. First up in the welterweight division, Alan Brahmachoban versus Matt Dwyer. For Matt Dwyer. And his opponent is Alan Choban. All right, next up in the lightweight division, Kevin the Motown Phenom Lee versus James Moonwalker Moon Tasri. For James Moon Tasri. And his opponent, please welcome Kevin Lee. For the Motown Phenom. Moving on now to the bantamweight division, Scott Young Guns Jorgensen versus Manbull the Anvil Gamburian. Manbull Gamburian. And his opponent, please welcome the veteran Scott Jorgensen. For Scott Jorgensen. All right, now we get to a featured bout in the bantamweight division. Holly, the Preacher's Daughter Holm versus Marion Belizean Bruiser Renault. And her opponent, the undefeated Holly Holm. For Holly Holm. We have arrived at the co-main event in the lightweight division. Josh the Punk Thompson versus Tony El Kukui Ferguson. First fighter to the scale, ranked number 11 in the world, Tony Ferguson. $156 for Tony Ferguson. And his opponent is the former Strikeforce lightweight champion, currently ranked number 9 in the world, Josh Thompson. $55.5 for Josh Thompson. Time to take a closer look at the two men on the marquee, the heavyweights who share the octagon for tomorrow's main event. Take a look.
Frank Mir looked absolutely spectacular and knocked, Bigfoot Silva.
Oh! Down goes Bigfoot!
Frank took a long time off, and boy, did it pay off.
Wow! What a shot there from Frank Mir. What a finish!
I felt great and was able to knock out Bigfoot, who was ranked number 8 in the world at the time, and I knocked him out in a little under 2 minutes.
To see Frank Mir compete with the enthusiasm that he showed in the Bigfoot Silva fight is inspiring, and it makes me excited about seeing him fight again.
I showcased the one attribute that I think everybody can take from my career is that I constantly am trying to move forward.
Frank Mir is one of the very best submission artists to ever compete in the UFC's heavyweight division. You're talking about a guy who has broken the bones of 2 former champions in submitting them.
I think Frank Mir is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He's been a champion, he's been a great fighter, but it's my time now.
Todd Duffy had to overcome a serious illness and a set of injuries that had really had him on the verge of retiring.
2 full years is the typical recovery. I got lucky, it took me about a year, and I immediately got back in the gym and started training.
He got healthy again and put on a show against Anthony Hamilton. The fighter that we saw in that fight is a real threat to anyone in the UFC's heavyweight division.
When I first got in the UFC, I just wanted to be one of the best. Now I truly believe that I can be a UFC heavyweight champion.
Todd Duffy's a really good athlete. He's very explosive, very powerful. He's going to be looking to finish me. And when he realizes that this isn't going to be an easy night, he's going to look for the opportunity for me to have a submission so he can go home early.
I guess he's kind of upset that I called him out.
He was disrespectful. And that actually has helped drive my training to the point to it is now, to where I'm looking to go ahead and make sure that this fight is one of his last in the UFC.
I'm sorry, dude. You know, like, it's just business. This is my everything right now. This is what's going to define my career at this moment. He's in my way. I will be the UFC champion.
First fighter to the scale, taking part in his first UFC main event, Todd Duffy. For Todd Duffy. And his opponent is the former 2-time UFC heavyweight champion. Please welcome Frank Mir. $262 for Frank Mir. Ladies and gentlemen, that makes it official. Thank you all so much for coming out to the weigh-in. We'll see you right back here for the fights tomorrow night.